Hello everybody and welcome to my YouTube video channel. I'm Boris and today I'm going to talk about procurement. In my previous video that you can find on my YouTube channel, I talked about purchasing, but in that video I assumed that purchasing was the same as procurement and procurement was the same as purchasing. In today's video, we're going to tell the difference between purchasing and procurement. Why? Most people in the business environment, whether they are procurement professionals or not, use the concept procurement and purchasing interchangeably to describe the process of acquiring goods and services necessary for the company's operations, which makes it even more difficult to understand both for the procurement professionals and non-procurement professionals. But in reality, these two concepts are distinct and play two distinct roles and missions within the organization. So understanding the difference between the two of them makes it easier to approach the subject and can help and facilitate companies' success. So in today's video, we're going to give you the difference between procurement and purchasing. We also provide some insight as to how to differentiate procurement from purchasing. So if you're ready, buckle up and let's get right into it. What is procurement? Procurement is the end-to-end process of identifying business needs, sourcing strategic suppliers to meet the company's expectations in terms of goods and services, but also in terms of quality, innovation, and so many other things. Negotiating contracts and managing supplier relationship management. It is a strategic function that covers both direct and indirect spend and emphasizes on total value creation. Procurement activities include evaluating and selecting suppliers, negotiating contracts, ensuring regulatory compliance, mitigating risk, and tracking supplier performance. This broader view of procurement is critical for long-term success and aligns purchasing decisions with the business overall goals. It's at this time that a company needs to make the smartest choices to ensure the purchase of the top quality goods and services at the reasonable price. Any tasks prior to the establishment of a purchase order will fall under the category of the procurement function. That's why in procurement management, we speak of market research, which is referred to as a strategic and systematic process of searching, gathering, and analyzing information or data from both the external business environment and internal business environment for decision-making purposes. This is where the procurement team, we have to do some investigation into the market in order to gain some insight into what are the different trends prevailing in the market, what are the dynamics in the market. According to Michael Porter, which is one of the most proponent thinker or writer in the field of business management and supply chain especially, there are 5 dominant forces in the market, and it's up to the business to investigate those 5 forces in order to understand what are the dynamics in the market. One is the industry rivalry. Industry rivalry is where there is competition between dominant force, which is dominant companies in the industry. And we have the bargaining power of suppliers. What are the different suppliers in the market, and what are their respective and relative power with regard to their industry position? Are they leader of the industry? What is their market share? What type of goods and services do they provide in the market? Further on, we have the bargaining power of buyers. This is where we look at the different buyers in the market and what are their relative power in terms of how much do they buy, what do they buy, what is their purchasing power, what is the volume of purchase do they have every year. So we have to analyze the different buyers in the market so that we can determine where do we find ourselves in the picture or in that landscape. How do we compete with other buyers in terms of bargaining power, in terms of purchasing power, in terms of the types of material, in terms of goods and products and services we buy in the market. Next, we have the threats of new entrants. So when the industry is profitable, the likelihood of many companies trying to enter this market is very high. So we have to make sure that if we are in a particular industry, what is the likelihood of other competitors coming to the industry, and how does that threaten the market share that we have? How does that threatens our position in terms of innovation, in terms of technology, in terms of finance, okay, in terms of capital? So all these factors have to be taken into consideration when analyzing the business market. And last but not least is the threats of substitutes. This is where we look at the possible substitutes to a given product or a given service. As far as procurement is concerned, we have, bearing in mind that we have to conduct procurement activities in the most cost-effective way in order to reduce cost whilst optimizing quality and satisfaction. We have to make sure that whatever price, whatever item or product or services that we're buying in the market is competitive enough in terms of price. And sometimes we may get better deals in terms of price when we buy alternative products, when we buy substitutes products. So it's very important as a buyer to look at what are the substitutes to the product that I'm trying to buy or I will be buying in the next few years. This will provide you with some guidelines as to what substitute is possible to our business that we can adjust to in order to take the best of our purchasing strategies. And I would like to add one more component to the Porter's 5 forces, which is today the regulatory and compliance forces. So today we are talking about more and more environment and climate change and global warming issues that is out of which a lot of regulations are coming from. So most organizations, most countries are taking extraordinary measures in terms of regulations and compliance. and trying to enforce those regulation measures onto the organizations operating in that countries or in a particular environment. So it's very important to take into consideration the environmental aspects and environmental threats. So that's it for the market research, and that's it for procurement, just like I said. Now let's look at what is purchasing. What is purchasing? Purchasing is a tactical subset, a component of procurement that focuses on the actual buying process. It begins when a supplier has been selected and a price has been agreed upon. Purchasing activities include creating and approving purchase orders, receiving goods and services, and matching invoices for payment. While seen as purely transactional, purchasing plays a critical role in supporting day-to-day business operations, ensuring timely and cost-effective delivery of goods. In order to understand the difference between procurement and purchasing, think of procurement as an architect and of purchasing activities as the builder of the house executing the plan. Purchasing focuses on acquiring goods and services necessary for the business operations to ensure smooth running of business operations. Procurement, on the other hand, concentrates on operational executions. Understanding the difference between procurement and purchasing is the good way to ensure optimal management of supply chain. So in short, we can say that purchasing include all processes and activities related to acquiring goods, products, and services necessary for the company's smooth operations. The purchasing function must accomplish all those missions under the best condition possible, ensuring reasonable price, which means at the cost-effective manner, reasonable and optimum quality, and ensuring compliance and timely delivery to meet customers' expectations so that production in the company can take place and produce good products and services to meet customers' expectations. Next, we're going to look at some fundamental characteristics that further helps differentiate procurement from purchasing. And this is what we're going to see. So the main difference between purchasing and procurement is that purchasing focuses on order cost and how to reduce them, whereas procurement focuses on the overall value creation and total cost throughout the purchasing cycle. Procurement is an umbrella term that covers all purchasing activities and ultimately aims to manage supplier relationship, risk mitigation, contract compliance, and of course, contract management. While purchasing focuses on short-term goals and business needs, procurement instead focuses on strategic long-term goals like corporate strategy and competitive advantage. These two separate approaches or processes should be addressed differently. In that way, a company can pay close attention to distinguishing aspects like supplier selection and management, risk management or risk mitigation, and expediting. To focus on corporate strategy, both on short-term and long-term growth, a company should be well versed in the procurement cycle and purchasing process. That's why it's important as procurement professionals and non-procurement professionals, or why not students or scholars, to understand the difference between procurement and purchasing. Both procurement and purchasing plays an important role in the managing of spend and supplier relationship management. So to wrap this topic up, I'd like to say that procurement is a strategic function that focuses on selecting suppliers, negotiating contracts, managing supply chain risk, and ensuring long-term and short-term value creation. It aligns procurement goals with the company's overall strategic goals and helps the company to achieve growth and resilience and competitiveness. It aligns business goals, it aligns sourcing decisions with broader business goals, and supports innovation, compliance, and resilience. Purchasing, by contrast, is a more tactical process that involves executing procurement strategies through day-to-day processes like placing orders, receiving goods and services, and processing invoices for payment. While procurement sets the strategy, purchasing ensures that it's carried out effectively. So that's all for this video, and I hope you have found this video relevant and the content beneficial to your learning experience. And if that's so, please do me a favor, click on the like button and subscribe button below, and also share the video so that more people can reach out, can access this content, so that we can reach out to more people and we can make the channel known worldwide. Until next time, take care.